Welcome to Coffee and Regs.
Cyber attacks have been in the news lately. We've seen the Colonial Pipeline attack, the cybersecurity incident involving JBS. Recently, we've seen cyber attacks and ransomware targeting media companies, television stations. It's clear that our infrastructure is under attack, and financial organizations have a reason to be concerned. Financial institutions have a lot of data worth protecting, a lot of information that is very sensitive in nature. And we want to make sure that we're having these conversations. We want to make sure that we're doing what we can to counsel our clients and those that we work with to take the measures necessary to protect that information, because what we're seeing is an increase in the sophistication of these cybersecurity attacks. We're also seeing that ransomware as a service has evolved. It's very easy now for anyone to simply add ransomware to a shopping cart, add a target, specify a target, and launch a very sophisticated attack against an organization. So what can we do on our end to make ourselves more secure, to better prepare our organizations for what seems to be an increasing array of attacks, a nonstop litany of cyber attacks that are making headlines, each and every day? Mike, what can you share with us from your perspective in terms of the types of ransomware that's out there right now, the types of attacks that we're seeing, and more importantly, what can firms do about these risks?
I think one of the more important things that everybody needs to remember is at the end of the day, on the other end of the computer networks, it's still just people. It's everyday people, you and me, moms, dads, aunts, uncles, and people make mistakes. People are busy. So some of the best things that firms can do is, to periodically remind employees, hey, you need to continue to stay vigilant and check emails. If you receive an email from somebody that's got a file attached, is it something that you were expecting? Is it from somebody that would normally send you some kind of file like that? Hover over links. Does it look legitimate? If you have a question about something, you can always go to a search engine and try to do independent research on an email. Oh, look at this new service that we've implemented. Well, is it something that we've actually done? If it is, you'd expect to see that somewhere on a news website or on an internal company website. And as far as passwords go, we're all inundated with multiple passwords for multiple accounts, personal accounts, business accounts, retirement accounts. And it is getting increasingly more difficult to keep those passwords manageable. But the best piece of advice that we can really give people is to not use the same passwords over and over and over again for different websites. And more specifically, do not reuse or do not use passwords that are used for business accounts, for work accounts, for any types of personal accounts, and try to keep as much information related to day-to-day business activities segregated from your personal life as possible.
Absolutely. I think the risk of password reuse is very prevalent, unfortunately, out there, because cyber criminals are posting data dumps, large password sets on the dark web. And if you're a user who has engaged in this practice of using your work password for personal accounts, if you've used your Netflix password or your Facebook password as the same password for access to your corporate email account, if those accounts get breached in one place, those breach passwords are out there for the taking by the cyber attacker. So I completely agree with you, Mike. It's a very strong practice to avoid password reuse. As painful as it might be to come up with a different password and to meet different password complexity requirements for each website, each application that you use, it is a strong practice to engage in. The cyber attacks and the ransomware that we're seeing right now, for the most part, originates from phishing emails. So again, be mindful of those links that are coming into your email. Be mindful of clicking those links, hover over those links. Be extra cautious when actually clicking those links, or even when entering your login usernames and passwords into forms that appear after clicking a link. Because again, if it's a fictitious website that may be a convincing fake, that's how the hackers are gaining your passwords. That's how these passwords are being leaked onto the dark web. The ransomware variants that are out there right now in the wild have evolved. Previously, they used to just simply encrypt your information, lock it, and you had to pay a certain amount of Bitcoin to get your files unlocked and be able to use those. Increasingly, ransomware has evolved where it is of the exfiltrate and extort variety. So if you're clicking that link now, it's much more dangerous than it was perhaps a couple years ago, because your information might not just get locked, might not just get encrypted. The information can get stolen as well, and you're going to get hit, twice as hard with a ransom. That's really the tips that we wanted to convey to you today. Again, ransomware, cybersecurity incidents, they're making headlines, and we want to do our part to help you guys stay protected.
This has been another episode of Coffee and Regs.